Klein, it's easy to be a title sponsor of Memphis Sounds. Simply call executive producer Herb O'Mell or director Tommy Warren. That number is 901-415-2833, and help us to keep the Memphis Sound alive. Here's a guy who's been alive for a long time with Memphis music. Flash, the Fleischman. Flash and the board of directors, but you were Flash and the Casuals before that.
That's right, George.
Steve Blockman.
Steve Blockman. The Casuals was the first name for the band.
Yeah.
That was in 1961. Then we went on the road with Paul Revere.
Brenda Lee had a group called the Casuals.
Well, that's what happened. We were supposed to, and did, go on the road with Paul Revere and the Raiders, and the Dick Clark's people, through Paul, called us and said, you've got to change your name because that's Brenda Lee's band. So when you're a band, you want to have the coolest name in the world, and we kept thinking and thinking, and actually you were nice enough to come over to our little apartment, and we went through all kinds of stuff and helping us choose a name. And eventually, the way I remember it is that I went through the yellow pages and I got to Banks. And I thought, Banks, board of directors, and I said, Flash and the board of directors, and everybody seemed to take it, and when I look back, pretty good name.
Well, even though it was long, we all liked that name. Now, who was, when that night, Flash, who was in the group of Flash and the board of directors?
That would have been, well, I was the singer, Mark Tidwell on guitar, Mike Stoker on bass, Steve Holt was on drums.
With Ronnie Millsap.
Ronnie Millsap. You know, Joe Jr., Joe Carrero Jr., who later became a Raider, was a drummer with us before Steve. And then Ted Garrettson was on trumpet, and we had Newell Tuggle on sax. I think that was the main group that you would.
Was that the group that went on the road with the Raiders?
Yeah, that was the band. Joe Jr. was our drummer first, and then after the first tour, Paul hired him away to be the drummer for the Raiders, so we had to replace him, and our good friend, the late Thomas Boggs, played drums with us on the road.
That's right.
Yeah,
I remember that. What a great... Now, Flash, you guys worked... Name the clubs you worked around Memphis.
Well, the big thing was the Thunderbird Lounge, and really I thought about this quite a bit, is what really happened, in my opinion, when that club opened up in late 1966. It was really the first club that, you know, the baby boomers, the counterculture had set in. We had an integrated crowd, and we were playing that music. And in the club itself and the vibe, it wasn't rural like most of the other clubs had been. It was a little rural. The people 4 and 5 years older than I, kind of from a more country-ish background, and nothing wrong with that, but this was more, you know, kind of the baby boomers, and it was just a perfect chemistry. That's the way I see it, and it just clicked. And
that joint was packed. You had guys like Paul Revere and the Raiders. You had Three Dog Night come down there. Roy Head, the Righteous Brothers. We brought them all down there.
Steppenwolf. Well, yeah, it was the place when all the bands would come in and do the shows at the Coliseum. Most of them would eventually, sometime during the night, would come down to the Thunderbird. And a lot of the music guys would come through here, promotion people, and they would come down to the club. And it was just... It was the place for a number of years.
Okay, I want to move fast forward. You know what that means in the recording studio. But before I do go to what you're doing today, David Fleischman is his real name. He had Flash and the board of directors. You were on my TV show for a couple of 3 years as a regular group with your guys. Flash, you had 2 songs that were pretty big. One was Busy Signal, and the other was Goodbye, Deborah Lewis.
And Scott Shannon, our good friend Scott Shannon, talks about that song. And one that people ask about or mention to me quite a bit is a song, I Pray for Rain, which you used on a Talent Party clip, and it's on YouTube. It's on and off. Sometimes they take it off, and I'll get calls all over the country, people saying, hey, I saw you on this clip, and I didn't know you did that, and all of that. People that just know me from my record business days.
Flash and the board of directors. Now, David Fleischman, what are you doing these days?
Well, I still do record promotion. I am on the NARIS board here in Memphis, and the old Memphis, not old, but my good friend and our friend John Scott from FM 100 and I have an internet radio station called allmemphismusic.com.
Very good.
And that's what we do. We play all the...
to that.
On the internet, www.allmemphismusic.com, and it's just what it sounds like. Everything from W.C. Handy to the new artists, the Amy LaVeres and the Jump Back Jakes and the people that are... We want to play the heritage, but we really want to try to help and break and expose new Memphis artists to the world.
Very good. Tell your best half, Miss J, that I said hello.
Got a deal. That's always easy.
Flash and the board of directors on Memphis Sounds with GK.